Today's videos we're going to talk specialised shots, and there may be not as many specialised shots as you think you need. We'll also talk specialised wedges, what can they really do for you, bounce, grinds, those kind of ideas. Put the finishing touches to your short game. If you've not watched my basic chipping video, maybe see the link in the description below, or I'll put one up in this corner as well. It'll really help you get the premise of what we're talking about today as well, so maybe go back and watch that and come back to this one. But today's video is going to give you nice, usable practice tips to help you up and down your golf ball a lot more often. Before we jump into specialising your wedge play and your chipping play, remember we've got the competition running on this series with today's golfer. In the link down below, follow that link, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, hit the thumbs up button, post a comment as well telling me what wedges specialised do you have, do you feel like you've got the right ones or wrong ones, in the comment section down there. Let me know. Good luck. So I've just got my 58-degree wedge here. I'm going to hit my medium chip. So to recap from video earlier on, I'm going to go straight lines, leading edge, handle line with my zipper here, and I'm rotating around that zipper, a little bit of release forward with my right hand, trying to activate as much as I can the bounce, and we're going to talk about how these work or not on the other wedges as the video goes on. So my club here, just to give you a heads up, is a 58-degree, but it's a mid bounce, 10-degree bounce, which is medium to high bounce, so it's got plenty of bottom end relief there for me. So I'm going to go ball pretty much in line with my zipper, lead foot turned out, nice width for stance, turn back, turn through, a little bit of right hand release, keeping these straight lines. And I'm going to play in there my medium height wedge shot. So I've got a bit of a tear to go up here. It does land and stop in that. So I'm going to think, right, the next time I play this shot, or when I come into this situation, I might want to go in a fraction lower. Now I could change club, but I feel quite comfortable with this at the moment with my chipping club. So what I might think is I'm going to play this one, but I want it to go in with a lower trajectory. So now what I'm going to do is put the ball behind my zipper, so towards my rear foot. Got the handle just fractionally forwards. I've not got loads of lean. I don't want to introduce massive sharp edges. And what I am going to do in this swing is I'm going to turn back, and as I come through, I'm going to really make sure this handle goes up and left, so I don't just dig down into that earth, because I want the interaction with the ground to be as neutral, almost as neutral as the first shot, the standard one. Little bit more pressure on my front foot, handle forwards, ball back, turn back, up and through. I play that lower one, and now I'm just running it slightly up the slope. Now the final variation, I'm going to play again pretty much my basic technique, but I'm going to push the ball just forward in my zipper, make sure the handle, if anything, is slightly back. As I come through, I'm going to have a lot more release of my right hand, try and flick that club forwards to try and add some loft, making sure I got a nice interaction with the ground. Medium width stance, lead foot turned out, same club. There's my higher one flying all the way and landing that little bit softer. Everything we're doing around the standard basic chip, having then those two other variables, the lower and then in turn the slightly higher, really going to help you get creative around the green. So let's put this creativity to practice. Bit of grass around my ball. I've got plenty of green to work with. It's running right to left and away from me, so this one I'm going to choose my lower option. Ball slightly back, handle forward, weight a little forward, handle up and left for that lower shot. There it comes out nice and low. It's just going to run on and start breaking a little bit to the left. Take it. So I'm in the rough, but I've caught a pretty decent lie. I've got plenty of green to work with. It's running left to right, which I'm reading in, but the ball will stop. Great chance for me to use my mid. So just everything a little bit straight, pressure quite even, back and forwards. Let that just run down to the flag. So we've now got a situation where the green's really running away from me. I'm a bit worried about it running through, so I'm going to use the higher one. I'm going to use my high variation of the three shots to try and control landing point and run out. Just that little bit more height. It hit the down slope. Without that height, that's running miles past. Take it. The medium shot, a lower version and a higher, such a great skill to have. Now how does that work then if we start looking at the equipment? Let's do a little crash course in bounce, grind, head styles and finishes. So what is bounce in your wedges? It simply is the angle between the leading edge and the lowest point of the back of your wedge. And this angle, this bounce, is here to try and help you. The analogy I like to use is think of a snow shovel. If I'm trying to remove the snow from my very precious drive, if I bring that snow shovel in quite level, I'm going to take a layer off but not chunk into my drive. I want to go a bit deeper into that snow. I'm going to raise the handle up, introduce a bit more of that leading edge, then use that back for relief to get that snow moving. But if I want to take loads of snow, I'm going to dig that leading edge in, but I now have a danger of maybe scarring my lovely drive. And it's the same idea with the wedges. If you use a bit of bounce, you're going to not really scar the turf that much. If you use lots of bounce, you're not going to scar it at all. It might even bounce off. And if you introduce that leading edge too much, you might start digging. You need to be feeling, using that bounce to help you play some better golf. Let's think about relief and grinds in your wedges. This is really specialized stuff that you might not need to worry about. But to give you an idea, I've got my wedge here on a really tight surface. Now what you can see here, if I lean the handle back or lean it forwards, the gap between the leading edge and the tight surface changes. Now let's pretend I want to try and open up my club, which is going to introduce more bounce, but I need a bit of relief in this heel here so I can get the heel closer to the ground to get in under that ball. Same with the toe. If I stand my wedge up and I want to use the toe end, don't want to get loads of bounce involved, I want to take it a little bit more closer leading edge to the ground, you can see how much closer it gets. The relief on wedges, the grinding, is there to give you some more specialized ideas around shots. Your general rule of thumb, 8-10 degrees worth of bounce, you can move around that. Remember, bounce is dynamic. You can manipulate handle forwards or back, open clubs up or close them down to reduce that to the amount of bounce you might need to play in nearly every situation. When it comes to different styles of wedges, you might find cavity back wedges blend a little bit more with your set in their feel and their looks. The more popular are the players style wedges, bladed style wedges. These are more universal, but again, it's something you should go and test and see how it blends with what you want to fit into your set that you have at the minute. The other key factor is also to remember to blend your lofts to the loft that you're meeting in your set. So if you're pitching wedges X loft, you want your gap wedge or your specialized wedge to blend for distances in the lofts. You've also got dark finishes, rusty finishes, chromed finishes. These are going to really appeal for people's looks when they put the ball down. You might see some different glares from the chrome finish to the dark finishes that might appeal to you more. Very much a personal preference. And then when it comes to grooves and generating spin, you want consistent spin is the key to some better scoring. It's not just about putting the most on, it's about getting a consistent amount of spin. Easiest way to do that, make sure you've got fresh grooves, make sure you've got that nice milling on that face, and while at the same time making sure you're keeping that wedge really clean. Making sure all the debris is removed from those grooves each shot is something that might allow you to keep the consistency of spin, and then the consistency of your performance will shine through. So I've got two tight lies. I'm going to show you the 12 and the 6. They're quite opposite ends of the bounce spectrum. So if I put the 12 degree down here, I can definitely play my neutral medium shot. If I open up the blade, the leading edge does start coming off the ground a little too much. I could just lean my handle forwards and open up the blade. Where if I use the 6 degree bounce here, neutral feels easy. If I open that blade up, it feels really easy. Now, I've got to weigh up if I'm going to do that off bare lies more than maybe if I put the ball in a bunker with lots of sand, which I might find I'm in a lot and I want a lot of more relief, or I'm in the semi-rough around the greens a lot more where I want that little bit more relief. The simplest way for you to find out which works best for you, get on a green if you can with a selection of different bounces, grinds, those kind of ideas. Find out where your worst part of your game is. Let's say it's the bare lies here. And if you find the low bounce helps that, but then it doesn't hurt the other parts of your game, from the semi-rough, from the bunker, the bits that you can play, then there might be an answer. There's no point fixing this shot if it harms other shots that I'm good at, because at the end of the day, if you understand your bounce, so this is the 6 degree and it does feel good off this lie, I can really feel like I'm going to nip that, actually nip too quick. If we put this on the exact same line with the 12, I mean, I feel I can play it. I think it's going to give me some relief, but I could take that little relief off with a fraction amount of handle lean. I mean, they both pulled up pretty much exactly the same. The best thing to do with your bounces and grinds, work out where your worst spot is, find out if these can help that in any way, but at the same time, you don't want them to hurt your other skills. Right, should we have some fun? Let's do some really specialised shots. Now I've got my 10 degree 58 here again, so I'm not over fussing. I'm on a pretty bare lie here as well. And I want to play a shot that the Team Strixon players actually showed me when I was filming with them, Ryan Fox and the gang, called Slap the Bass. So what we're going to do is we're going to feel like we're putting this part of the club, so right at the back of the club, down into the ground behind the ball, to play the most ridiculous spinning and high flying shot we can to get us out of trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the face literally flat on the ground, as flat as I can. And then in turn I'm going to lower the handle of the club, because if I lay the face open it tends to point it a little bit right, but I can use the face angle with the loft. If I lower that, it starts pointing the loft a bit more at the target, so I don't have to swing across the ball, I can hit quite straight. Going to go nice straight wide stance, lead foot turned out, zero handle lean, and I'm literally going to try and hit the ground behind the ball, trying to put the back end of the club, so the top back bit of the club, on the ground. High risk shot. I'm playing this from a ridiculous lie. I'm also going to just line it up a little bit with the heel of my club. I know that sounds scary, but it's fun. Give it a go. Because remember, I've got that relief in there. The club is thicker in the middle here. There's more relief on the toe and the heel. So by having that relief there, I can get that part of the club, so this leading edge, much lower to the ground on this tight lie. And then what I'm going to do is nice aggressive speed of swing. Oh yes. And pop that ball up. This shot is fun. I am not going to use it very often, but it's one, if you can master, it will get you out of crazy trouble and make you feel like a bit of a hero. Let's go for a horrible bare lie. So we're basically on a little bit of mud here, early season lie in the UK. We can't really run it, we've got to fly it over this ridge, we've got too much of a fringe to play with, so we do need to chuck it. You can imagine there's a bunk here, so it's a bare lie, but the thing's got to go in the air. Because obviously if I didn't really have to hit this in the air, I mean I could run it through this fringe if I really wanted to, but it does get quite long on the bank here. I would choose putter, low lofted club all the time, but let's pretend you've got to get it in the air. Bare lie. Now this is where handle straight, pressure relatively even, your neutral mid-range shot is so good. If you can get the interactions with the ground, as you can see here as I brush the ground, relatively neutral, it doesn't bother me as much that it's bare, because I'm going to get the back of the club hitting the ground before the ball, and because I've got a very neutral interaction with the ground, it's a very nice basic chip forward. Biggest problem you'll find, and this is a great way of practicing from these lies, if you start putting handle lean in there, weight forward, classic old, this is where you start getting a little bit duffy and chunky, and it's hard to get that ball close. I mean, I'm even going to play this one. Let's just flatten that divot down, so I'm now bare lie divot. I'm literally trying to move this amount of earth, but in a very brushy fashion. So straight ball position, straight handle. I'm going to try and just let that club overtake me at the bottom. Lovely little bouncy forward chip. Makes the bare lies, those horrible ones, so much more simple if you get that involved with the shot. Let's stop using this side. Lots of grass around the ball. Not a crazy amount of green to work with. Reading your lie and then applying appropriate speed is something I see amateurs just not do enough. And good players, to be fair. And the beauty with golf is it's not fair. So I'm in the exact same position, say with these two shots. I've hit the same approach. I've not one's like not closer, one's in a lot of grass and one's in a very nice lie. So the one in a very nice lie, I can just play my standard shot and chip it forwards absolutely fine. Didn't worry about speed. All I did worry is about regular speed, not really much different to if I was on the fairway, where this one, if I play that speed of shot from a heavy rough lie like that, there's a good chance that grass tangling up before me that I'm going to just get that horrible duffy short one. So the big idea with this one, I can play my regular to slightly high shot if I wanted to, we talked about earlier, but I'm going to put more speed in. This ball needs a little bit more effort to get out. It will come out hot and might run on, but I'd rather that than it duff short. Reading that lie, applying that little bit more speed. You can see it's just run on that little bit further, but what I didn't do is leave it for another chip. I've got it on the green for a chance or a putt. Making sure I'm reading that line, putting the appropriate speed in to get through whatever down there is so key. So I don't see amateurs practice at all. If you go to a tour event, certainly where there's rough, watch the pros around the green. They'll take the ball off the green and put it in the rough and practice from the shots they're going to get that week. Amateurs spend plenty of time in the rough like we all do. Get practicing out of it. Learn your different speeds, learn your different patterns of how to get that ball closer to that hole. Thanks for watching. Let me know if these ideas help your game. It always amazes me on the course how much I just use medium, high, low. I don't have to go too crazy with the specialist ideas, but it's good to have them in there. Remember, we've still got the competition running, so follow the link down below to enter. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button as always. Let me know if these ideas are helping you or if it's something you're already doing.